Welcome to Sustainability Marketing, Lecture 9. In this chapter, we will cover the sustainability marketing mix and the second C of the 4 Cs, which is customer cost. We will start with a theory of customer cost. The learning objectives are as follows. The first one is to identify the total customer cost, including prices, purchase costs, use costs, and post-use costs. Learning objective number 2, to understand how to reduce the costs of customers of sustainable products and services. And learning objective 3, to discuss the nature of prices. The episode is structured as follows. First, we have a very informative and entertaining DVD called The Detective Story. Then we will talk about the total customer cost from a consumer perspective and a marketer perspective. And finally, we will reflect upon the nature of prices. Let's start with a very nice video which was created by the bachelor students of the TUM School of Management. It was the winner of a Sustainability Innovation and Marketing Video Award 2011, which covered customer cost. Let's have a look and entertain yourself.
Hallo, guten Tag. Hallo, also ich suche eigentlich Glühbirne
Okay.
und ich habe viel gehört über diese Energiesparlampen, aber lohnt es sich irgendwie?
Das sind die klassischen Energiesparbirnen, die sind super, was die Energieeffizienzklasse beinhaltet. Also hier sind wir bei Effizienzklasse A, das heißt 80% wirklich Ersparnis gegenüber der normalen Glühbirne, hat halt leider ein kleines Problem, anschalten und sie dauert ein bisschen. Ja.
Ciao.
Should I get this energy-saving light bulb or not? Are they really worth it?
In the video, the bachelor students discuss the different kind of customer cost by the example of the energy-saving lamp. I hoped you enjoyed the video. Total customer cost from a consumer perspective include price, purchase costs, use costs, and post-use costs. Let's have a closer look. Well, first of all, besides the price, there are purchase costs. There are different kinds of purchase cost, both in monetary and non-monetary terms. First of all, there are the search costs. These are the costs you need to search for a specific kind of product. If a product is new, if you have to find out about the social and ecological attributes, you have to search for it. You need time. So, in economic terms, you have costs as a customer. You also have information costs, the cost you have to acquire the information. And finally, transportation costs. If you buy the conventional product or the sustainable product in a retailer, let's say, which is outside of town, you have to go there by public transportation or by car. So that takes time, that takes gasoline. These are transportation costs. Usually, in the case of new sustainable products, purchase costs are higher than the cost of conventional products, which you are used to and which you can acquire in many different stores. And then there are use costs. especially in the case of energy using products like cars, for example, but also houses, washing machines, energy costs really matter. Sometimes looking at the entire lifespan of a product, actually the energy cost, the use cost can be higher than the upfront cost of a product. And then there are switching costs. These are the costs you have if you switch from one product to the other. Let's think about car sharing. If you had a car on your own before and you want to switch to car sharing and give up your car, you have a lot of switching costs because you have to get used to the new kind of mobility patterns. Or think about electric cars. You don't really know how it works, how far it goes, and so on and so forth. So you have to change your behavior patterns. These are switching costs. But there are also psychological costs. If you switch, let's say, from conventional food to organic or fair trade food, you don't know what the others think about you. These are psychological costs, psychological switching costs. And finally, there are post-use costs of collecting, the packaging, for example, the storage, and finally the disposal. Especially in the case of fast-moving consumer goods, like food, for example, and food packaging, post-use costs can be rather high. And the less recycling possibilities you have, the higher are the post-use cost of collecting and disposing these kinds of products. So these are the total customer costs from a consumer perspective. Let's switch to the marketer perspective. What is the task of the sustainability marketer? Well, first of all, he has to have a look at the total customer cost, including the purchase, the use, and the post-use costs besides price. And he has to try to reduce these costs, the total cost of sustainable products, as compared to the cost of conventional products, in order to be successful in the market. Let's have a look at the different elements and how sustainability marketers can implement this task of reducing total customer cost. Let's start with the price. Basically, according to Kotler and Armstrong, there are two possibilities of pricing: value-based pricing and cost-based pricing. Value-based pricing starts with the customer and how he values the product and what he is willing to pay for the product. Cost-based pricing starts with a product and the cost of a product, what it takes to manufacture and to distribute the product. And then the company would go from there. So it's a kind of cost-based pricing. Let's have a look in the case of sustainable textiles. A good example for value-based pricing is Patagonia. It's a premium brand, sustainable textiles, very durable, high quality, and from high recycled content. The target group are mainly young men who are willing to pay a high price for their outdoor activities and equipment. So they start from the willingness to pay of the customers and the value of the customer perceives for their sustainable products. Coop, the Swiss retailer, follows a different kind of pricing. They offer basic cotton shirts for children, a product category which is quite price sensitive. So that's why they tried to reduce the price of cotton shirts and t-shirts by excluding intermediaries and working directly with suppliers, sustainable suppliers from India. So by changing the entire value creation chain, by working directly with the sustainable suppliers, by producing, processing and selling cotton shirts in bulk, in larger quantities, they manage to reduce the cost and offer these kind of organic shirts for a lower price. Actually, the price is similar to conventional shirts. That's why it's quite successful and popular in the Swiss market. Let's have a look at organic food. A good example for value-based pricing is hip baby food. Here you see the two family members who are CEOs of the companies. Baby food is a market where sensitized young parents really care for their children and they are willing to pay a high price for organic baby food, which is tasty and which is free of residuals, as Klaus Hipp and Stefan Hipp say and claim in their name. So they start with the value of the product, the high value, and go from there. Unlike the German discounter Aldi, they ride on the wave of organic food, and they also introduced a basic organic food assortment a couple of years ago. It's limited to a certain number, around 40 to 50 products, basic products including milk products, some meat products, and so on and so forth. And they buy in larger quantities from mostly German but also Eastern European organic farmers for a lower price. So due to the economies of scale and the larger quantities, they manage to reduce the price. So these are examples for value-based pricing and different strategies companies follow in the market for sustainable products. Let's go on and have a look at purchase costs. A good example for reducing purchase costs is Whole Foods markets in the United States. Here you see a large organic supermarket in New York City. They offer all kinds of products in large quantities, and they enable customers to do a one-stop shopping, which means they enter the market, they can get high-quality organic food in the store, and they don't have to go to a second or a third store to buy their organic food. So by means of one-stop shopping, by having everyday food, basic products 365, they reduce the price costs and the purchase costs. Let's have a look at the use costs. Here's an example of the Association of European Washing Detergent Companies. They initiated a campaign and they give tips for saving water, energy, CO2 and also money by washing right, as they say. So by washing right, you also save costs, that is energy and water. Maybe you want to have a look at the website www.washright.com. Let's have a look at the post-use costs. Here we have an example from electronics, specifically computers in the case of Hewlett-Packard. they offer a number of ways to recover the electronics, the computer. You can trade it in for a new computer, you can return it for cash, or you get a leasing return, or you can donate and recycle it. Sometimes, in the case of commercial customers, they also go to the company and retrieve the computers in order to either reuse them, recycle them, or dispose them in an environmental way. So basically there are multiple options, multiple ways, which make it easier for the customer to turn in to recycle the product. An important task for sustainability marketers is to make customers aware of total cost. Often customers just have a look at the upfront cost, that is to say, the monetary prices you pay when you purchase a product. They often neglect the total cost, especially including the use costs. Here's a good example from Electrolux. It's a kind of calculator, and they show how much money and how much energy and CO2 emissions you can save by switching from an old conventional washing machine to a new energy efficient and water efficient one. If you take an average household in, let's say, in Munich, you can save 325 kilograms CO2 in the lifespan of the new product. You can also save 85 euro per year when you switch to the new machine, and 370 kilowatt hours per year, as well as over 4,000 liters. That's a simple instruments you find on the internet and a calculator. Many companies offer that nowadays. Another example are tools or labels by third parties. Here you see a number of energy labels from all over the world, including the European Union, the United States, Japan, Australia, Korea, and China. They sensitize consumers for the use cost of energy using products like washing machines, like cars, and so on and so forth. So at a glance, customer can see the classification and the energy rating. The higher the rating, the better is the energy efficiency, the more cost they save during the use. So these are all instruments and possibilities for sustainability marketers to reduce the total cost of customer and succeed with sustainable products. Finally, let's have a look at the nature of prices. Often, it is said that sustainable products are too expensive. Well, that is one argument. Let's turn it the other side. Let's turn it the other side round. Let's turn it around. I would state that sustainable products are not too expensive, but conventional foods are too cheap. What do I mean by that? It basically means that conventional products often have external costs in terms of social and ecological problems which are not included in the product and which somebody else has to bear. For example, the children in the African mines, or future generations, or the natural environment. So that's why I would say sustainable products are not too expensive, but conventional products are too cheap. And that's the reason why we have to make changes in the framework. We have to set the prices right and internalize the external costs to include it in the price, but also the purchase, the use costs, and the post-use costs. If you have higher CO2 prices or energy prices, it influences the use costs. And sustainable products, all of a sudden, which are highly eco-efficient as compared to conventional products, all of a sudden they are more competitive. That's why we also have to change the framework. That is something we will cover in lecture 11 of sustainability marketing. Let's have a look at the review and discussion questions. First one, identify and describe the components of the total customer cost for a refrigerator, a car, and a frozen pizza. What does the term switching costs mean? Give example of switching costs for 2 sustainable products that you would consider buying. Third, list possible ways to reduce use costs. And fourth, making customer aware of total costs is crucial for sustainability marketers. Discuss the pros and cons of the environmental information and tools provided by companies as compared to third-party organizations. And here are the references. Pages 231 to 248 in our textbook. One article by Meyer, What's in it for the Customer? Successfully Marketing Green Clothes, where I also took the example of Patagonia and Co-op. And then an interesting book chapter by Kursela and Spence on factors affecting the acquisition of energy-efficient durable goods. Thank you very much for listening, and bye for now.